I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to Ozark City Hall. We're glad you're here for the Board of Alderman meeting and engaging with your elected officials. Listening to perspectives of city residents, business owners, and other community members helps our elected leaders make more informed decisions. Before the meeting begins, let's review our rules of order. These ensure the meeting is orderly and efficient while allowing everyone who would like to speak an opportunity to do so. There are two opportunities for you to speak during the agenda's scheduled visitor and guest portion of the meeting and during public discussion of new bills and resolutions. During the agenda's scheduled visitor and guest portion, anyone who signed up at the city clerk's office before 5 p.m. the Wednesday before the meeting can speak to aldermen about the topic they specified. Now, in the public discussion of new bills and resolutions, that allows you to give comments for aldermen to consider before they make a decision. Anytime anyone is speaking, the following rules apply. First, only one person should speak at a time. Please be respectful of the person speaking and hold your comments until it's your turn. Second, anyone speaking must do so from the podium and speak into the microphone. Third, you must first provide your name and address in writing to the city clerk before beginning your comments. These forms are provided near the entrance. You also must state your name and address to the Board of Aldermen using the podium microphone. Fourth, all comments should be addressed to the mayor and aldermen. Finally, all speakers have 5 minutes to make their comments. The mayor or alderman may have additional questions for speakers after their 5-minute time limit. Occasionally, the board will invite someone to make a presentation at the meeting. This is only to give information to the board about a specific topic. These presenters will have no time limit on giving their information. This meeting will be live streamed and recorded with video and audio unless there are technical difficulties. The use of cell phones or other devices is discouraged during the meeting. Please silence your phones right now. Again, thank you for being here and engaging with the City of Ozark. The meeting will begin shortly.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Campbell?
Here.
Alderman Galloway? He joined us yet? No. Alderman Hutchinson? Here. Alderman Metcalf?
Here.
Alderman Snyder?
Here.
We have 4 aldermen present. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Galloway? He's present. Yeah. Alderman Galloway, can you hear us? Okay. We have 4 aldermen present. We have 4.
Okay. Okay, at this time, we'll look at the June 3rd, 2024, our regular session minutes. Are there any questions or updates or anything in these minutes from June 3rd, regular session from the Alderman? Not hearing, entertain a motion?
Your Honor, I make a motion to adopt the minutes as written for the June 3rd, 2024 regular session.
Okay, the motion is that we adopt as printed the June 3rd, 2024 regular session minutes. The motion was made by Alderman Snyder, seconded by Alderman Hutcherson. All in favor of voting on the motion to approve the June 3rd minutes, do so by show of hands. And that does carry. Okay, moving ahead, we do have a scheduled guest tonight. We have the Ozark Chamber CEO and President, Chris Russell, with us tonight.
Good evening, guys. Thank you so much. All right, tailgating. It's one of the Ozark Chamber Conference. Well, we're showing a party down here on morning on the square. We guys talked a little bit about last month, our last session. Want to give you an update. The Ozark Chamber, not only information, very helpful in this process, making this a partnership to bring Ozark Black City live on the squares Friday morning this weekend from 7 a.m. tonight. We're trying to get a big crowd to come out as well. So we'd love to have you. And just kind of park off the squares a little bit so we get some good shots of downtown Ozark. I'll give you an update on what's going to happen with that. We'll be working, giving updates on what's going on in the community from the chamber perspective and the city of Ozark perspective. We'll also have a segment about the duck race course we have this weekend. And of course, we'll have Brad Jackson and Jackie Gardner going to speak about that. We're going to have some live music on the performers who is actually going to be at the duck race this weekend. He's going to come down and do some kitchen sets. That's going to be a nice touch. And then we're going to be focusing on a few local businesses as well. GW Coffee House, Park Grace, we'll have a second. Just kind of showcasing the overall atmosphere of business in downtown Ozark. In addition, we have a special pre-recorded and Jeremy Parsons did a pre-recorded segments about the Chapman Trail. And so that'll be one of the segments that you hear that morning. In addition, we'll have another session with Off the Rails Bakery, just showcasing again another local business right here on the square. And we'll also have a cooking session with the Wateroa restaurants. That'll be fun to do. And then I think Maria and I are going to challenge the on-air talent to a little miniature carnival tournament in honor of the spirit of the big duck race weekend and those sort of things, and then some more live music. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're encouraging guests to get here about 6:30 in the morning because they will start live at 7 a.m. And we'll mainly be around the gazebo, but a few of the live segments will actually go into restaurants. We had the film crews come down last week to do some testing, make sure everything was going to work okay, which could be pre-recorded segments. So what a great way to showcase Ozark this coming Friday morning with a heavy emphasis on all things Ozark. And yes, we are going to square, but we will be talking about not just the square, but everything else that's going on in our community to showcase Ozark coming up and some of the other events the rest of the year and why it's important to shop Ozark and shop local. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I have been doing something that I'm good at. I mean, it's just training to my personality. Rebuilding the chamber website. And we are probably launched, not technically launched today. If you will receive emails from the chamber, you may have gotten an email today that we're asking our members to go in and log in, password, and update their information on the website. I'm so proud of it. It is going to encompass all things in Ozark. The Ozark Chamber website before this was okay, very dated, lots of dated information. As a matter of fact, a lot of the community pages have just been taken out because nobody really knew how to update them. And they were reflective of mayor's or some information 5-10 years ago. So to be able to go in and really truly recreate a brand new website for the Ozark Chamber that really truly encompasses everything about Ozark. Yes, we have all the chamber information, but you'll see a tab in there that says Explore Ozark, and we're covering things such as, and by the way, I need you guys, city staff, to look at your pages specifically, make sure that the information is relevant, make sure it's accurate, and not change it. From the Parks Department to the Public Works Department to the City of Ozark. So please take a look at that. We're asking the schools, HRD, and all the other pages and community pages that we have. And we're going to be creating more of those as we go. But when people are looking for a community to explore, Chamber is one of the very first places that traditionally that they look. And I feel very confident that our new websites will be very, very encompassing of all things Ozark and a heavy emphasis on shop Ozark, shop local, the amenities that we have right here in our community. And also very mobile friendly, which the other one wasn't. We all know we're all on our devices these days with the website. So I'm very excited about that, and that will be officially launched to the general public probably this week. I think our final appointment will be to get it actually launched to ozarkchamber.com. That's a separate thing now. Members can go in and look at it, and it will be changing very, very soon. So we're excited about that, and that is going to be real. The other cool thing about this too is that we want to create a true community calendar, working with our different nonprofit organizations. When they have, I was on the phone today with the Senior Citizens Center. They're going to be doing some sort of fundraiser festival on July 20th. We're here with food trucks and want to do something with the senior center. We want to make sure we're showcasing those kind of events on a community-wide calendar that we can control and give access to our nonprofit organizations to be able to go in and upload that. And of course, if they don't know how, we'll be able to help them in the system. So I am proud to say that one of the other processes of changing over the website and the database program, man, we have been cleaning a lot of old data. And that's just part of it. You have an old database that's been around for a long time. A lot of people have their fingers inside of this database. You have a lot of this old data that was very reflective of the community. And in addition to that, I remember director was a hot mess. Me and my intern from Missouri State we've literally been going through spreadsheet after spreadsheet, and very excited to say, okay, now we know exactly how many chamber members we have, 402. And now that knows that we want to get to 650 in the next couple of years, at least now we know exactly what that base is, cleaning out some old names and stuff that just kind of slipped through the cracks. They weren't really active, but they're getting an active membership, so been able to do that. Just a couple of event reminders coming up. We have the chamber lunch is coming up next week on Thursday, 11 to 1. First party coffee this month will be on the 12th, not the 5th. I think everybody's busy on July 5th. We're not going to be good day to have Friday coffee and after the holiday. So we're going to skip that to the 12th. That will actually be over here at the OC on the pavilion on the east side. And then just a reminder, here's some good news. Showcase Ozark September the 7th. We'll be launching that this week too to get more sponsors and vendors. Have a lot of interest in that. And we have secured a full marketing package, radio package, investing in broadcasting. So we're going to have a lot of radio spots promoting that event for our community. And we're also doing Everett News and other local resources, but we'll have a heavy radio presence supporting that event and we're trying to relaunch coming up on September the 7th. And oh, the other thing too is, I know some of you get to see this too. I want to hand this out. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Back to the mic there, I know you get one.
Yeah.
Need one, maybe. Anybody else? Okay, so this is something that's actually starting. We're switching direction on this a little bit. I'm going to choose the name of Showcase Ozark. And I'm kind of aligned with the Showcase Ozark Expo and a heavier focus on economic development. Not just, there's some really nice, of course, the next one will focus also on the actual expo itself. It's going to be a handout, it's going to be our program manual at the event. But in the future, you're going to see a heavier emphasis on economic development, things that are new, exciting, and we have this coming in, or this place up the road, or places like that. People are always interested in let's see restaurant, what's the new fun stuff in town. And we want to showcase that with this a little bit more. I find it difficult as a chamber member when we have paid members, and that's our magazine and third party out. We're just giving away free press and advertising to some members, which is fun. But on the other end, I think it's easier to say, okay, this is an economic development piece. I met with Kristen over showing Kristen County the other day. She's going to have a piece in this. I'm going to offer up anything that the city wants to do with it. But I want to make this more of a showcase. Those are economic development magazine with an emphasis on the chamber. That comes out quarterly, so the next one will come out right around the September mark. We'll showcase and we'll have our Christmas edition coming up. Guys, that's all I have. We're going to busy meetings. That's all I have. Any questions for me? We are getting more visitors in the chambers. The other day, just moved to Ozark. Wanted information. I told her son all about the Ozark Innovation Center, the Parks Department, and they were handing information, and they were truly excited that the visitors center for the community and long. Anything else? Everyone get out or one-on-one, can you name anybody out there that have a conversation? Up to you. Back to anything you use.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. Okay, we'll move on to our first reading. Just so I know, do we have Bruce or not? Do we have Bruce or not?
He's here.
Okay, good. Okay. So we're going to now move to first readings of bills, which are open to public discussion. We're going to begin with bill number 3564.
Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3564 on its first reading by title only.
And seconded by,
Second.
okay. The motion is that we place bill number 3564 on its first reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Metcalf, seconded by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss bill 3564, do so by show of hands. And it does carry.
An ordinance amending the zoning code and official map by changing the zoning classification of Lot 155 of the Old World Estates Planned Unit Development.
Okay, and we have Director Cam Smith and Alderman Galloway. Are you hearing us okay?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Okay.
All right. The application is to rezone Lot 155 of Old World Estates in the PUD from C2 General Commercial to R1P Two-Family Patio Home District. On the screen, you'll see the kind of the outline of the Old World Estates subdivision. This lot location is at the southeast corner, so Lot 155. And there's two items on the agenda tonight. We'll speak about both of these, but this is the northern lot. R1P patio homes are a two-family attached single-family dwelling. The property is currently vacant at this time. The surrounding zoning is single-family residential to the north, commercial to the east, commercial to the south, and single-family residential to the west. The property can be serviced by our city water and sewer. And when the original development was completed, they completed a hydrology report and a traffic study. Once they get to that stage and this point of the development of a plating, we had to look at that again and make sure it's updated to accommodate this zoning if approved. Just looking at zoning amendments, we always refer to ordinance section 405-870. There's what we call the findings of facts that we always follow when we look at an ordinance request or a zoning request. Item 1, relatedness of the proposed amendment to the goals outlined in the comp plan. The comprehensive plan did recommend a future land use of single family. The requested use of R1P is a residential use, which would conform to the comprehensive plan. Following that, item number 2, the existing uses of the property within the general area of the property in question. The surrounding uses are compatible with the requested zoning. Item 3, the zoning classification of the property within the general area. Again, the surrounding zonings are compatible with this request. Item number 4, the suitability of the property in question to the uses permitted under the existing zoning classification. The property is suitable for the existing zoning that is there today and the proposed zoning request. And then the last item, number 5, the trend of development, if any, in the general area of the property in question, including changes, if any, which have taken place in the present zoning classification. Again, the trend of development of today would support this zoning request. I do want to point out these are the 5 factors that we look at when we see a zoning request. They are a guiding document. Not all have to be satisfied, nor is one of them only used to determine a zoning request. So I want to bring that to your attention and show you those highlights as we present this to the Planning and Zoning Commission. That's how they make their determination. And then moving forward, in the comprehensive plan, it does address the goals. Goal number 1 in residential was diversify housing options in the city. Objective 1, diversify housing by allowing a range of housing types and styles. And again, the majority of the housing in this area are detached single-family dwellings. This zoning request of the R1P would offer an additional housing option. So it does align with the goals of the comp plan. Based on the staff report and findings, all the requirements were met for this zoning approval, and then the Planning and Zoning Commission did recommend approval. With that, be happy to answer any questions.
Alderman Campbell.
Question. On the, you had mentioned traffic study when they do the preliminary plat, I believe.
Yeah.
Would you tell us, does that, obviously it affects, it's going to count the traffic that's going to dump out onto North 22nd Street. And then I would assume it figures out what dumps onto CC and what dumps onto Jackson Street also?
I don't believe the traffic study would reach out that far, but I could be incorrect on there. It'd be better for the traffic engineer to evaluate that. But again, that'll be something we'll look at the plat, not necessarily here. We do know that the traffic from these 2 lots would dump out onto Athens, not directly onto 22nd Street. So they will have an internal network to their own development street before they get out to 22nd.
Okay.
Anyone else have questions for Director Cameron? Yes, Alderman Hutcherson.
The small lots to the southwest of Lot 155, are those to the south of Athens?
Yeah, so currently right now, these larger lots are single family. The lots here are R1P, the same as the zoning request.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for Director Cameron? Okay, I'm not seeing any. So this is a first reading. So at this time, we'll open up for public discussion. Those who are anyone in favor of this development may come first, please.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Ricky Haas with Olson, representing the developer. I'm at 550 East St. Louis in Springfield. We thankful for all staff's help on this. They've done a great job kind of explaining what our goal here is. Just a quick summary. We feel like all the utilities are available at the site. We are providing an easement along 22nd Street for the trail, 10-foot trail easement. And then along the northern and western boundaries, we'll have a 20-foot buffer from the existing homes that are there. And just to touch on the traffic, a C2 use that's allowed right now would generate significantly more traffic than an R1P use. So we feel like that the traffic study that's been done, we will go back and reanalyze it, but it's going to have less traffic impact than what's currently allowed there. And that's about all I've got. I'm here if you guys have any questions, though. Thank you.
Okay. Now, Alderman Galloway, you will need to speak up if you have a question, since I cannot see you. So I don't think he does. He didn't speak up. Okay.
You can't,
Oh, he does. Okay, go. This is
can't
Alderman.
see me?
No, we're seeing something else on the screen, but go ahead, speak, sir.
Oh, no, I didn't have any questions.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I was just making sure, because sometimes we forget the person who's on Zoom. I didn't want to leave you out. Yes, ma'am.
I did have a question about, will these be rental homes or will they be purchased, owner-owned, owner-occupied?
I am not sure at this time right now. I think either option is on the table.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else here who is in favor of bill number 3564? This is your turn to come speak, one at a time.
My name is Tricia Smith, and I live at 4285 Sienna Avenue, and I was here at the last meeting, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the HOA board. I'm one of the board members, and two of our other board members are also present. One couldn't make it. So we have something here to read real quick. The Old World Estates HOA board members are all in support of both rezoning measures. Our community has about 320 lots between both the single-family homes and patio homes. Given the minimum lot size and setback requirements, it looks like we're potentially adding 16 lots or 8 patio homes. This amounts to a 5% increase in the size of our community. Such a small change will have no impact on our common spaces. Even on the busiest day, it amounts to less than one additional family, we think, at the pool at any given time. In the initial plans that we've seen, the larger lot will have a small road similar to the other cul-de-sacs in the neighborhood. We don't expect the addition of these homes to have any impact on street parking or any sort of traffic congestion. Instead, we actually see a positive side effect in that our neighborhood will begin with Athens Street. So instead of turning off 22nd and potentially driving into commercial businesses, this change will make Athens purely residential. As far as home values are concerned, this was mentioned in the last meeting, the patio homes on Athens hold close to the same value, if not the same value, as some of our smaller single-family homes. Athens is also a very quiet street as far as violations go. Despite half of the lots on that street being rentals, communication has been easy and issues are addressed quickly when they do arise. The areas to the south of the neighborhood are zoned as commercial, but they're warehouse operations. There's some truck traffic, but everything is contained within those buildings. One of our board members actually lives there, and his backyard overlooks 22nd Street, and the level of traffic noise is not a problem. We know some community members have been less than thrilled about Count's previous performances, but the 2 lots we are discussing today don't include any common area amenities. They will be portioned off and sold to developers, or he will develop them himself. Of all the options presented, turning these lots into patio homes has most benefit for our community. It's a very reasonable change, and in the end, it is just a 5% increase. We wholly support this change and look forward to seeing these lots developed. They would also be a part of our HOA, so they would have to abide by the same covenants as everybody else. So.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
No, just a comment. I appreciate you coming forth like that.
I know, it's nervous.
No,
to do
that means a lot, because one of the things I like to ask of developers if they have spoken with residents, and apparently you have come.
We've spoken to David Counts himself also and have told him we're in support of this, so.
Good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Anyone's here in favor of bill number 3564? Not seeing movement. Is anyone here in opposition to Bill number 3564? This is now your time. I am not seeing movement, so therefore, at this time, I'm closing the public discussion to Bill 3564. Any final comments from the board? Not seeing any, therefore, Bill number 3564 will be held over to future meeting. We'll now move on to Bill 3565.
Your Honor, I move that we place Bill number 3565 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
Okay. The motion is we place Bill number 3565 on its first reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Metcalf and is seconded by Alderman Snyder. All in favor to discuss Bill 3565, do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
An ordinance amending the zoning code and official map by changing the zoning classification of Lot 156 of the Old World Estates Planned Unit Development.
Okay. We'll have Director Cameron Smith come up again. Any,
Got it. Oh. Can't go to the slideshow. Okay. Well, this is the second part of the application for the rezoning. This is the rezoning of Lot 156 of the PUD from C2 to R1P. The only difference in this application and the previous application are the surrounding land uses. So I want to highlight those. The surrounding zoning is commercial to the north, commercial to the east, and industrial to the south. And then to the west is single-family residential. Other than that, like I stated, everything else is the same as the previous application. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
okay, I'm not seeing any questions from the board. Okay. Since this is first reading, we'll open it again to the public. And anyone here who will speak for Bill number 3565? Yes, sir.
Ricky Haas with Olson again, representing the developer, 550 East St. Louis. Nothing to add there. Same kind of setup. It's got the same easement and setbacks that we're providing, so I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions? I'm not seeing any.
Thank you.
Okay. So anyone else here to speak for, in favor of Bill number 3565? Yeah, come to the mic, please. Since we are live stream. You did fine the first time. Don't be nervous. You did fine.
Okay, Trisha Smith, 4285 Sienna Avenue. We're in support of both rezoning, so I don't need to say.
Okay. Anyone else here to speak in favor of Bill 3565? Okay, I'm not seeing a movement. Anyone here in opposition to Bill 3565? This is your time. Okay, I'm not seeing movement. Therefore, I'm going to close now the public discussion to Bill number 3565. One more time, any final comments from any of the board members? I am not seeing any, so therefore, Bill number 3565 will be held over to a future meeting. We're now moving on to Bill number 3566.
Your Honor, I move that we place Bill number 3566 on its first reading by title only.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is place Bill number 3566 on its first reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Metcalf, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss Bill 3566, do so by show of hands. And yes, I see that and does carry.
An ordinance amending the municipal code of the city of Ozark, Missouri, Chapter 410 subdivision regulations.
And we'll have again Director Cameron Smith come up.
For the presentation. You just want to go to slideshow, I can pan it to the slide. Okay. All right, so in the packet, there's an ordinance revision for our subdivision regulations. We've been talking about this for quite some time. There were several things that were brought to staff's attention that we need to address, adjust, and plan for. So I want to just kind of highlight those changes. This is an ordinance that we plan to repeal and replace the entire ordinance. There was a lot of stuff that got shifted and moved around just to help the flow of the ordinance, to where it made more sense as an applicant or staff was even reviewing the ordinance. But just to highlight a lot of those, it was a joint effort between our department, Public Works, and the Law Department. Spent quite some time on working on this draft revision. One of the large things is we updated the list of required information that shall be submitted with the preliminary and final plat application. This is kind of an itemized list. It begins on page 9 of the ordinance revision. That kind of sets us up for like a checklist for an applicant. It's also what we use to review the subdivision applications. And again, this as far as the Board of Alderman, their acts on these, it's like an administrative type process. So it kind of helps this checklist or items required helps to go through the process. One of the major revisions that's been discussed for quite some time are the 2 public access points. At one of the last meetings, we talked about that, and then also a hardship concern. We have added some language in here about a hardship clause. It states added the hardship clause is to allow one access when access is unattainable through the neighboring properties due to existing development, shape, topographical conditions, or environmental features. So there's some elements that will just make getting that secondary access not a possibility. We also have added language requiring roadway stubs to be stubbed out to neighboring undeveloped properties, or if there's a development there that has a stub, then they'll be required to connect to that. So we are adding that requirement in there just for connectivity throughout subdivisions. Another update, there was a discussion about private streets. We are requiring if a developer is building private streets, they shall be developed and built to a public works standards for public streets. They can remain private, but they will be inspected and built to a city standard. Another update that staff has had for quite some time that we plan to propose that we just hadn't had a reason to bring the ordinance full to the commission board was a subdivision sign. We are requiring that on a subdivision at one of their main entrances to provide an actual easement for a subdivision sign and construct a subdivision sign. I think that'd be beneficial for the community of knowing what subdivision that is, where they're entering a subdivision. And then what we have found in the past, in some cases, those signs are on private property or in right of way. And so we want to clean that up as well. 2 big items that were never really codified and in the ordinance as being required that we have required is the engineered stormwater analysis and the transportation impact study. We are putting that in the ordinance now that shall be required to be submitted with a plat application. The preliminary plat approval process has been updated to better align with what the process is today that we follow with our procedures. We have a flow chart that we developed several years ago, and then just the required submittal information that we are looking for before it can be approved on an agenda in front of the commission and board. In addition to that, we discussed about the minor subdivision process. To be honest, it was really difficult to track down a parent tract of land. So our current ordinance requires you to trace back to the parent tract. In a lot of cases, it is really difficult to find the parent tract, and when it was split long ago, in some instances, even within the city of Ozark, and if it meets the county requirements, someone can walk into the county and split property, and we're not aware of it. So we're trying to address that as well. A lot of communities use something different, where there's a parent tract at time of annexation in the city. They just set a specific timeline, say year 2000, anything moving forward. But the one that we like the best and thought would be the cleanest is this 10-year period time frame. And within a 10-year timeframe, I imagine the development trends will change, the process, how things are looked at. So it's a good reset. So once they make a minor subdivision application, they split it, they can no longer split that for at least 10 years. Again, it gives us time to kind of evaluate ordinances and processes. One other update we made, we had found that the escrowing of sidewalk funds just isn't working out to the way we'd like for those to work out. So we were removing that allowance in the ordinance, where now the sidewalks just have to be built before they can final plat and no longer escrow those. Again, overall changes, just formatting and rearranging the ordinances, and then just minor updates. The fee study reference, we clarified that we're referring to our fee study. Printed materials, we no longer really require those printed materials. Everything is electronically. We do require them to go ahead and submit the Mylar and the one bond copy so we can get recorded that the county requires. Again, electronic submittals, the submission requirements, clean up what is required. The review process, again, kind of codifying kind of that step of process of going through. And then just department references. We found some incorrect departments were referenced about the authority and approval of a subdivision. And with that, be happy to answer any questions.
Alderman Galloway, since I cannot see you, do you have a question? I take it that's no. Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you, sir. This is first reading, so therefore is anyone here in favor, welcome to the public now, anyone here in favor of speaking in not seeing movement, anyone in opposition to bill number 3566? Okay, I'm going to close the public discussion at this time. And one more time, any questions from the board? I'm not seeing anything, so bill number 3566 will be held to a future meeting for second reading. We're going to now move to bill number 3567.
Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3567 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, so we're placing bill number 3567 on its first reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Metcalf, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting and on the motion to discuss bill number 3567, do so by show of hands, and it does carry.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Christian County, Missouri to accept transfer of real property known as the Riverside Park.
One more time.
Just the very last page. There's only one page. I got it. So the city's been working with the county for quite some time on the Riverside Inn Park property. Various instances over the years when we've applied for grants and stuff, we've had agreements with the county to allow us to apply for grants on those properties. In recent discussions, it's been discussed and agreed to by the county to transfer this property to the city. We currently already have a maintenance agreement with the county on this property. So last summer, the county actually made that transfer to the city. They honestly thought that we'd already approved that and recorded that. And so we're just trying to clean up that process to go ahead and complete this transfer and get that recorded to the city. So just to clarify, on the screen in the red area, that is the property we're talking about. The city already currently owns the blue. On the eastern side of the road is all private property. So I think this would just provide that better connectivity, expand the park property area, and allow that maybe that trailhead or terminus head for a trail corridor at some point in time. And it's also along our Blue Way corridor. The property does have deed restrictions on there. The city does understand that and would accept those deed restrictions back when it was bought out through the floodplain program. With this, be happy to answer any questions.
Alderman Campbell.
Just the section that would be south of where the red ends and west of the blue or purple, whatever that is. Right there, that area right there between the purple and the,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You know my question then.
Possibly, but I don't have a great answer at the moment, but something we definitely are going to look into.
Okay.
So the trail is there now. So now that the old right-of-way is a trail, so we don't want to vacate that property. Also, we've had some conversations with the property owner. They've had concerns in the past with people on that property, liability, getting into the river. There's some instances where we need to do some stream bank stabilization. So once this is finished and cleaned up, we probably anticipated reaching out to that property owner to see about getting the eastern side of the bank so we can actually stabilize that and police it.
It almost looks like their property ends, that little strip that's between their property and the blue.
Right here?
Yes. Is that,
That's the existing right of way for the old road. That is, I believe, still owned by Ozark Special Road District or the
Okay.
county.
Okay.
So that's why we don't want to vacate that right of way because then it would split and be dissolved.
I got you.
So we plan to keep that right of way intact.
okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Therefore, first reading, open to the public. Anyone here who wishes to speak in favor of 3567? Anyone in opposition? Okay, not seeing any. I will now close to public discussion for 3567. Any final comments from any of the board members? Okay. Not seeing any. Bill number 3567 will be held over to future meeting. Now we're going to move on to bill number 3568.
Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3568 on its first reading by title and description only, please.
Okay, and seconded by,
Second.
okay. The motion is to place bill number 3568 on its first reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Snyder, seconded by Alderman Hutcherson. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss bill number 3568, do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilly Incorporated for services related to the Finley River Trail extension.
Okay. Now we have Director Jeremy.
Yes, good evening. I'll kind of go through this before the board a few months ago. Since that time, we've done some additional due diligence, and we've actually done some realignment, which required this to come back to the board. We had entered into a contract with Crawford, Murphy, Tilly on this project. I want to remind you of what the project is. I'll click it. There it goes. Big picture, you guys have seen this a few times. I wanted to give you a closer look. This is the map of the downtown area that just identifies some of the major nodes of activity that we like to call them. This is, again, the section of trail that will connect to Finley Farms. This is a better picture of it, and I'm going to show you, based on what we had previously shown, we're going to make a connection along Jackson Street. As we started getting into the design, there's a lot of topography and grading concerns, especially right in this area by bridge. It is going to cause a large retaining wall and be quite expensive. So we worked with the surrounding property owners to identify this alternative route. Great, works out well. The problem is, in our initial contract, we did not have structural engineering included in that contract. This is going to require a pedestrian bridge. So that's why we showed this picture, this pedestrian bridge. And there it is up there as well. There's just a small little wet weather stream that comes through there that we want to make sure that we cross safely and get the structural engineers involved. It's really not much to it. It's, these types of bridges now pretty much come prefabricated, but it does require us to look at the abutments and the footings and all of those things and make sure that we've got a good foundation. We'll also be taking care of this corner that's bugging me for quite some time, and it's probably bugging you as well. This is what would be the northeast corner of Highway NN and Jackson Street. That will all be tied in to the existing trail network there with the ADA ramp. So with that, I think it's a great connection. I think it's even better when you look at the pricing of it. If we drop that retaining wall out, we'd initially came to you for about $196,000. That drops it down to 141. That adds up. That allows us to go after more projects, which we'll talk about a little later today. However, I'd love to talk to you about this. This is, again, just kind of a rehash or a revision on the contract for services with CMT.
Yes, sir, Eddie. Excuse me, Alderman Campbell.
So I just want to clarify if I heard something correctly. So we're taking out a retaining wall or putting one in?
Taking one out. That's the cost difference. When we started doing the analysis on that, Alderman Campbell, it's a significant retaining wall and it was costly.
Okay. So why does it, did you say it now requires a structural engineer to be on board? And why would that be?
Because of the pedestrian bridge that we've got to make.
It has nothing to do with the retaining wall.
And this is an important note too. I'm glad you asked this question. When we expand Jackson Street and we add that additional lane on the north side of the Jackson Street Bridge, that will be the time to make that on the road connection. It'll be much more cost effective at that time. So we're just trying to get our connections, save a little money, and still connect all these nodes of activity.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Director Parson. Again, we're on the first reading. Anyone here in favor, we speak regarding Bill number 3568? Okay, not seeing anyone. Anyone here in opposition regarding Bill number 3568? Okay, therefore, I'm going to close at this time public discussion to Bill number 3568. Any final comments from the board? Not seeing any, I'm going to, therefore, Bill number 3568 will be held over for a future meeting. Now we're going to move on to Bill number 3569.
Your Honor, I move that we place Bill number 3569 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
Okay. The motion is to place Bill number 3569 on its first reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Metcalf, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor to vote to discuss Bill number 3569, do so by show of hands, and that does carry.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Ozarks Transportation Organization for services related to trail projects.
Again,
All right.
Director Parson.
Number 2. Okay, tonight, excited to talk about more trails. If we can go back to that presentation, I continued on in those slides. And we've called in the big guns tonight. Sarah Fields is here from the OTO, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about this partnership. But I wanted to show you a few slides if we can. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. All right, there we go. So I wanted to show you a few slides where we want to talk about what we're doing and the goal here. The goal here is to partner with the OTO, and I do want Sarah to talk about that. But the partnership will basically allow us to move forward with the design and engineering of future trail projects. One of the things that we've noticed when this funding comes down the pipeline, sometimes it's very difficult to spend those dollars in an efficient manner and get that project delivered. What this would essentially do is allow us to go out and design these projects, do all the work up front, and then shelf these projects. And when money comes along from one of these funding opportunities, we can simply pull that project off the shelf and get it built. And that means a lot to us, and that means a lot to the OTO, because a lot of times they've got to get those funds spent and allocated. So the first one, really quickly, you see the OC, you see the OIC on there. This would be an extension of the Finley River Trail and would get us that much further to the west, which eventually we hope to connect to the OTC Trail. But this phase of it would get us under the bridge and up to 22nd Street. 22nd Street would be the logical termini in this case. and we'd eventually keep on moving to the west. But this is a fantastic project. We'd still have the soft trails incorporated in that area as well. This would just be a hard surface trail to get you that much further down the beautiful Finley. So that's one of them that we'd like to work on. This one's pretty simple, but I think it's critical. The area just to the north where we built the Chadwick Flyer, Phase 1, there's a commercial subdivision over there, as you all know, kind of the Burger King, the Commerce Bank, those areas over there. Right now, there is no pedestrian connectivity to the Chadwick Flyer. So this would just be a short section from west to east or east to west to make that connection. So we're just calling it the Chadwick Flyer Connector. And we're not sold on these names. If you guys are better marketers, you just let me know. But the other one that came up is Cali Springs. We've got the easements in place for that, and it is another attempt to try to connect the OTC, the existing OTC trail, and then it would also connect up to the Longview area. We're very excited about getting Cali Springs and Rolling Prairie and Eagle Springs and all of those areas connected in to the Chadwick Flyer. I know one gentleman right here really wants us to get to Rolling Prairie, but we're building the spine now, so we're going to go ahead and start branching out and build these spurs. This one is super exciting as well. This will be what we call the Northern Connection. This one would basically follow the drainage basin where the Blue Stem Water Tower is. I'll point it out. Right in this area, you can see that circle. There's a drainage basin that follows all the way down into the west past Price Cutter. Our goal is to tie this in and then cross over 65 to get to that Chadwick Flyer. And you're saying, how are we going to cross? Well, good question. We're in the process right now of selecting the engineer for the Highway CC expansion, which includes pedestrian services as well. So we're making connections is what it comes down to. This is not to build these. Remember, this is just for the engineering. And I want Sarah to come up here and explain it a little bit and talk about the timelines and explain the importance of getting this partnership in place. And I'll leave it on that side.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me a moment of your time. I appreciate it. As a region, we set a goal to build an additional 45 miles of trail by 2045. And so we've been aggressively working toward that goal. And I think we've just about funded every project that was ready to go. So we kind of made it our mission this spring to have some more shovel-ready projects. And of course, Jeremy came forward. I've got ideas, as he always does. So we're really appreciative of that. When we put out the call for projects, we actually had 10 different projects submitted, 4 of which were Ozark. So that's a big percentage of those projects that are awarded. And the whole goal was to get funds basically what we call obligated or allocated by the end of the federal fiscal year. So the federal fiscal year ends September 30th, but we have to have everything in place by October 30th into the feds for them to, press their buttons there on their side. So that's the timeline we're working toward. And with that in mind, we had another entity, Ozark Greenways, put in some applications, and they said, we're not able to be the project manager. Can you do it? And we looked at it and we said, sure. And then we said, well, why don't we just offer that service out to everyone? And so 9 out of the 10 projects are opting to take us up on that service. And we think it's really going to provide an economy of scale for us. So we have a professional engineer on staff. She's really experienced and has been running these federal aid projects before. And she'll be, again, taking over 9 of those projects. We already sent out the RFQ. We're not bound to it, but we sent it out to try to meet our timelines, and the submissions are due on June the 21st. And the idea is to have a selection of the consultant made by July 5th. And of course, Ozark will sit on that selection committee, and then have, again, all the paperwork in place by August. So, again, we're hoping to have 4 projects shovel-ready in Ozark. We also have a grant writer on staff. So once we know the cost and the location and a timeline to have these delivered, we can start perhaps putting in grant applications. I know that my grant writer on staff helped with the Chadwick Flyer overpass, so we were really excited to see that and are super excited to see that get underway. So just appreciate your consideration tonight in furthering our partnership, just trying to make the most efficient use of funds possible. And of course, for your support for trails. I mean, it's been phenomenal, the investment that you guys are making in our regional trail system. So we're really excited to see everything that's happening down here.
On Snyder, you have a question?
No, mine is actually directed with Director Parsons.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, Director Parson?
Yes, sir.
In reference to the trail that's going to run along the Finley under Highway 65.
Yes.
Because they're having the bridge expansion, is MoDOT making accommodations to make sure that trail is going to be accessible underneath there?
So we've been working in coordination with MoDOT. We've got two things going on underneath that bridge right now. We've got a force main that we've been coordinating on, and then we've been coordinating, and that one is on the south side of the piers. This would be on the north side. So we're making sure that we've got ample room to get through there, adequate space, no utilities in the way. So we're trying to really coordinate with MoDOT. Same with the Chadwick Flyer. We have met with them several times on site to make sure that we're, trying to get everything in line and not do anything that could be counterproductive, because we are all moving towards the same goal so rapidly.
No, I appreciate that. It's just with the expansion of that bridge, I wanted to make sure that they're going to be able to accommodate our trails, because generally speaking, when they construct a new bridge, you're not getting under there.
Yeah.
So
We had a very good meeting on site under the bridge to talk about all these items and with MoDOT leadership. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Campbell, you're next.
Question for Jeremy.
Yeah.
Seems to me that obviously a lot of this particular trail, the one that Mr. Snyder was talking about, is going to be in a floodplain.
Yes.
So what do we do on a hard trail to try to alleviate damage to our trail when that happens?
Well, first, we'll make sure that we go through all the appropriate permitting process, work with our floodplain managers to find the best route and alignment to minimize the negative impacts. But if you look around the Ozark Greenways networks and many others, often they utilize these multi-use corridors or these riparian corridors as paths for the trails. So when designing, we're just going to make sure that we design in the appropriate manner, use concrete. That's one of the first ones right off the bat. And then just make sure that we're accommodating for the larger storm events so that we're not getting any undermining or any type of damage to the structure there. So there will be some extra engineering involved, but please know we are looking into that, and that'll be a big part of this study for that section of the trail. Same way with the Blue Stem Trail. If you've ever seen the northern side of the city of Ozark, when we really get a good rain, there's some significant water that runs through that drainage way as well.
Thank you, sir. Good question. Okay. Any other questions for Director Parson? Okay, not seeing any. This is the first reading. Is anyone here who would speak in favor of bill number 3569? Okay, not seeing any motion. Anyone here in opposition to bill number 3569? Yeah, I'm going to therefore close this time public reading. Any last questions from the board? And I do have that there's a special request from Director Jeremy Parson for this bill to be expedited as it was explained tonight. Do you want to maybe review why you wish for it to be expedited?
Yeah, as Ms. Fields was explaining earlier, there are some tight timeframes. This kind of sprung up on us, and MoDOT set timeframes in motion. And Sarah reached out to me and said, "Can you please get this on the agenda as quickly as possible?" We said, "Sure." And we did have a meeting with Alderman Metcalf this afternoon, and also spoke with leadership. If we can, that will keep us on the timeline that MoDOT desires. So.
Okay.
Okay, Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3569 on its second reading by title only.
Okay. The motion is that we place bill number 3569 on second reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss bill number 3569, do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Ozarks Transportation Organization for services related to trail projects.
Okay. Any additional comments from Director Parson? Or any questions for him? Okay, I'm not seeing any responses, so Alderman Metcalf.
Yes, Your Honor, I make a motion that we adopt Bill number 3569 as ordinance number 24-042.
Second.
Okay, the motion is that we adopt bill number 3569 to become ordinance 24-042. The motion was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Snyder. Roll call, please.
Alderman Hutchinson,
Aye.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Snyder,
Aye.
Alderman Campbell,
Aye.
Alderman Metcalf.
Aye.
We have 5 aye votes, motion carries.
Thank you. We'll now move on to bill number 3570.
Your Honor, I move that we place bill number 3570 on its second reading by title only.
Actually, this is first reading.
Beg your pardon, first reading.
Okay. And it was second, okay. The motion is to replace bill number 3570 on its first reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Galloway. It was seconded by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting on the motion to discuss bill number 3570, do so by show of hands. And it does carry.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an employment contract with and appointing Eric Johnson as city administrator effective July 15th, 2024.
Okay. And our interim city administrator, Ben.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So this bill will appoint and authorize a contract with Mr. Eric Johnson to be your new city administrator effective, as the city attorney noted, July 15th, 2024. Mr. Johnson is a longtime city administrator in the state of Missouri. Was most recently with the city of Blue Springs. I believe he was city administrator there for approximately 15 years and was their assistant city administrator there for 6 years before that. Prior to that, he was with the city of Kansas City for 6 years as a budget analyst. And then before that, he was with, I believe it was Ray County as a deputy sheriff. So he comes to the table with quite a bit of municipal experience, and I think everybody's going to really enjoy working with him, assuming you all approve this contract tonight. And we are requesting that this bill be expedited tonight as well, so that this process can conclude. And assuming you all authorize such, in the morning, our communications staff will send out a press release announcing the hire of Mr. Johnson to the news media, which should conclude our hiring process.
Okay. Any questions for our interim director? Okay, I am not seeing any questions, so therefore this is a first reading. Anyone here as for open to the public who is speaking in favor of bill number 3570? Okay, no movement. Anybody in opposition to bill 3570? And therefore, I'm at this time close the public discussion to bill 3570. Any final comments from the board? Okay. Well, as it's been stated, they wish to expedite this bill tonight. So Alderman Galloway.
Yes, Your Honor. I move that we place bill number 3570 on a second reading by title only.
Okay, and seconded by, okay. The motion is to place bill number 3570 on a second reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Galloway, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor of voting on this motion to discuss bill number 3570, do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an employment contract with and appointing Eric Johnson as city administrator effective July 15th, 2024.
Okay. Any additional comments, sir?
No, sir. I think we're all looking forward to trumpeting his arrival.
Yes, sir, Alderman Snyder.
I will say, I personally feel that this is a good decision for the city of Ozark. You know, we went through the process and I listened to what he had to say. I think it's definitely going to be beneficial with some of the practices that he brings. He supports our cops who are vital to our city and our survival here as a city. He uses common sense, something that has been eluded for the past several years here. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I think he's going to fix some things that have been out of whack, that were broken. He's going to fix a communication gap that I believe is definitely broken. But that's my thoughts. I don't believe we're going to go wrong here. I think this is going to move us forward, and I think it's going to put us in a better place.
Thank you, sir. Any, okay. Not seeing other comments. Alderman Galloway?
Your Honor, I move that we enact Bill number 3570 as ordinance number 24-043.
Second.
Okay, the motion is that we adopt Bill number 3570 to become ordinance 24-043. The motion was made by Alderman Galloway, second by Alderman Snyder. Roll call, please.
Alderman Snyder,
Aye.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Campbell,
Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson,
Aye.
Alderman Metcalf.
Aye.
We have 5 aye votes. Motion carries.
Very good. Now we're going to move on now to Bill number 3571.
Your Honor, I move that we place Bill number 3571 on its first reading by title and description only.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is to place Bill number 3571 on its first reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Snyder, second by Alderman Hutchinson. All in favor to discuss Bill number 3571, do so by show of hands. And I believe that does carry.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Southwest Missouri Engineering LLC, doing business as Cochran Engineering, for services related to construction administration and architectural design services for Neil Grubaugh Park.
Okay, I think now we're going to address now Director Hayden Ponsard.
Good evening. So the contract you see before you this evening is for design and project administration for Neil Grubaugh Park, specifically for bathroom and pavilion, a combination facility. They're located just south of our existing inclusive playground. These bathroom pavilion, I think, would have been previously labeled as phase 2 of that project, but ultimately it's time for Ozark, in my opinion, to have a facility that has a large pavilion and then bathrooms so that you don't have to leave the playground with your kiddo when you go. This is not a design, this is not construction, but this is simply for the design of said pavilion and bathroom, and then eventual project administration for that project. I'm available for any questions.
Okay. Yes, sir, Alderman Snyder.
Yeah, Director, even though this is not a design per se right now, we are going to try to integrate some crime prevention techniques in here. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Frankly, those principles that SEPTED that you mentioned, they're our biggest ally at the parks. Frankly, when we have increased lighting, when we have cameras and some of the other things that SEPTED includes, that reduces crime. And we see that in action at Finley River Park, where we've had some of those, I don't want to highlight our secrets in a public forum, but where some of those pieces have come into light. Some of the vandalism that we've seen in the past, we've actually seen less of this year. And so as we make this investment, it would be a very easy thing to do to incorporate those things for a much larger payback of safer and more secure facilities.
Gotcha. And we are going to bring our police officers into the conversation on this design as well?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Campbell, please.
This is not actually directed toward you, but just something that came to my mind while I was reading this and listening to you speak. A few years ago, and I can't remember exactly how many, the name of that park was changed from Neil Gruball Park to Neil and Betty Gruball Park. Out of respect for that family, why has that gone back to Neil Gruball Park?
So let me dive in on that one, frankly, at length. Susan Lemon and I got the chance a couple months ago to speak at length as we talk about the branding of it. So to honor both Neil and Betty's legacy, it should be the Gruball Municipal Park or the Neil and Betty Gruball Park. I have a long document that frankly, we spoke for over an hour on the phone to kind of walk through that, just to make sure we're honoring their family's legacy. I believe I've shared that with our communications department. Yes, they're nodding. And so on this one, it may be simply oversight for this ordinance. But any signage, anything at those parks, at the Gruball Municipal Pool, it will reflect the entire Gruball family. Frankly, I think one of the best parts of that story is, and I don't think it was all Beer Can, but Beer Can Betty raising the money for the fire engine. I think there's a lot of pieces of the Gruball family story that need to be told, not just Neil's service to the city, but also, frankly, the entire family. And you see the kiddos, even though some of them have even moved, I believe, overseas, are still involved and care about this community. I think one is overseas, one's just in Nixa, and then I can't recall where Susan, who we spoke at length with, resides, but I think she is Nixa as well. I'd have to check my notes, but the whole Gruball family is reflected in the name. In this specific ordinance, that's just an oversight.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate everything you did on that. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
realize that had all transpired.
Well,
But,
I tell you what, we got into the conversation with when it came to the pool, and I said, well, before we switch a name, let's go back into the history of it and figure it out. Because as someone who grew up in Springfield, the story of Neil and Betty eludes me, and so frankly, I wanted to get it, share it with the people who can immortalize it. So it's not just a story that we tell word of mouth, but frankly, eventually is written somewhere. I don't know. I don't want to commit them to a website or anything like that, but at least it is documented in our files. So,
Thank you, sir. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Since this is first reading, this is the final time open to the public tonight. Anyone here who wishes to speak in favor of Bill number 3571? Anyone in opposition to Bill number 3571? Okay, not seeing. I'm going to close this to public discussion. Final comments from the board? Any final comments regarding this bill? Okay, therefore, Bill number 3571 will be held over to a future meeting. We're going to move to two resolutions. We're going to begin with resolution number 2004.
yes, I move that we read resolution number 2004.
Seconded by?
Second.
Okay. The motion is to read resolution number 2004. It was made by Alderman Campbell, seconded by Alderman Snyder. All in favor on the motion to read resolution 2004, do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
A resolution approving the destruction of records that have met the retention schedule in compliance with the guidelines established by the Secretary of State and Chapter 109 of the state law.
Okay, and I believe our city clerk, any questions you want to explain about this?
Well, the Secretary of State sets out a schedule and how long we have to keep our records, and that's, from police reports, ordinances, employee files, contracts, work comp, our insurance policies. They lay out how long we have to keep those. Now, it doesn't mean you have to destroy them when that schedule is up, but that's just the length of time that you have to keep them. So we have probably approximately 50 boxes that will be picked up and shredded off-site by Shredded or Stericycle, I think is the name of it. But they will be here probably the end of the week if this is approved, and take these documents away.
Any questions for her? Okay. Again, I forgot, we do have to have this open to the public. So anyone here who was to speak in favor of resolution 2004? Opposition? Seeing none, I will close that. Any final board response? I'm not seeing any. Alderman Campbell?
I move that we adopt resolution number 2004.
And second by,
Second.
okay. Okay, the motion is that we adopt Resolution 0224. It was made by Alderman Campbell, second by Alderman Hutchinson. All in favor on the motion to adopt Resolution 2004, do so by show of hands. And it carries. Now we'll move on to Resolution 2005.
Yeah, Your Honor, I move that we read resolution number 2005.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is that we read Resolution 2005. It was made by Alderman Metcalf. It was seconded by Alderman Hutchinson. All in favor to read Resolution 2005, would do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
A resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Ozark, Missouri, approving one new appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay. Any questions from? Any questions for Director Cameron regarding this appointment? Okay, I am not seeing any. Therefore, again, anyone from the public who wishes to speak in favor of Resolution 2005? Anyone in opposition? Likewise. I'm going to close public comments then. Again, no comments from the board? Yes, Alderman Hutchinson, ma'am.
Just a quick question. It says for the unexpired term, did someone resign?
Yes, this is filling a vacant position. Alexi Pavlov had resigned from the commission, so it's filling that term.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm not seeing it.
Your Honor, I move that we adopt resolution number 2005.
And seconded by,
Second.
okay, I'm good. Okay, so the motion is that we adopt resolution 2005 made by Alderman Hutchins, by Alderman Metcalf, excuse me. I've said this too many times tonight, and seconded by Alderman Hutchinson. All in favor to approve resolution 2005, do so by show of hands.
You said approve.
Okay, adopt. Thank you. I'm sorry. All in favor to adopt resolution 2005. Do so by show of hands. And that does carry. Okay, now we're going to move on to second readings, and therefore this is board discussion only. And the first one we have is bill number 3561.
Mayor, I move that Bill 3561 be placed on its second and final reading by title only.
Okay, do we have second?
Second.
Okay, the motion is to replace bill number 3561 on second reading by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Hutchinson, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor on the motion to discuss bill number 3561, do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
An ordinance awarding a contract to and authorizing the city to enter into a contract with A2D Constructors LLC for construction services.
Okay. I know our chief is not here tonight, but our captain is here. Anything you wish to explain about this? Okay. Any questions for our captain regarding this remodel? Okay, I am not seeing any questions. Okay.
I just have a comment
Yes, ma'am.
that this has been a long time coming and we need to move forward as quickly as possible, that space is badly needed.
Yes, I concur with you.
And so I move to adopt Bill 3561 as ordinance 24-044.
Okay, a second by? Okay. Okay, the motion is that we adopt bill number 3561. It will become ordinance 24-044. The motion was made by Alderman Hutchinson. It is seconded by Alderman Snyder. Roll call, please.
Alderman Metcalf,
Aye.
Alderman Campbell,
Aye.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson,
Aye.
Alderman Snyder.
Aye.
We have 5 aye votes, motion carries.
Okay, thank you. We now move on to bill number 3562.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to table Bill number 3562
Okay.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that we table Bill number 3562 until we have some insurance concerns addressed within this bill.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. The motion is that we will table Bill number 3562 based upon the explanation given by Alderman Snyder, motion made by him, and second by Alderman Hutchinson. All in favor on the motion to table Bill number 3562, do so by show of hands. And it does carry, so Bill number 3562 has been tabled. We'll now move on to Bill number 3563.
Your Honor, I move that we place Bill 3563 on its reading by title only.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. The motion is we place Bill number 3563 on second read by title only. The motion was made by Alderman Galloway, second by Alderman Snyder. All in favor on the motion to discuss Bill number 3563, do so by show of hands. And that does carry.
An ordinance of the City of Ozark, Missouri, approving 3 reappointments to the Highway J and 17th Street Community Improvement District Board of Directors.
Okay. Any comments you want to add to this? Any questions we have for our interim city administrator? Okay. I am not seeing any, so.
Your Honor, I move that we adopt Bill number 3563 as ordinance number 24-046.
Actually, that would be 5, because we tabled number 2. So it'd be 045.
Second.
Okay. Okay. So the motion is that we adopt Bill number 3563 to become ordinance 24-045. That was made by Alderman Galloway, second by Alderman Snyder. Roll call, please.
Alderman Campbell,
Aye.
Alderman Snyder,
Aye.
Alderman Metcalf,
Aye.
Alderman Galloway,
Aye. Aye.
Alderman Hutchinson.
Aye.
We have 5 aye votes, motion carries.
Very good. Now, we'll move on to reports, beginning with our interim city administrator.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple quick things. First of all, we'll be conducting Parks and Recreation Director interviews this Wednesday, so no holiday for me or the mayor, but looking forward to wrapping that process up. I also wanted to note that we have a pretty exciting breakfast meeting coming up this Thursday. We will have somebody presenting about some economic development incentive requests related to a commercial development here in town. And then we also have Show Me Christian County coming to do sort of a presentation and allow you, the board, to do a Q&A with a developer. This person develops both commercial and residential properties. And it's sort of, their opportunity to explain the development process from the developer's point of view, but also an opportunity for the board to ask, frank questions, because I'm sure there are a number of times where you look at a development proposal and go, why on earth did you propose this? And it's your opportunity to kind of ask them, what goes through their head and what's behind the thinking on a project. So I think you'll find it interesting and exciting, and we'll have a little bit of breakfast for you at 8:30 a.m. here on Thursday. My final bit, sir, is to ask our Public Works Director, Jeremy Parsons, to come back up. I asked him to give the board a brief update as to the status of our recovery from the shop fire that we had several weeks ago, and he's prepared a slide and just wants to talk briefly about that.
Okay. Now, I know y'all have questions. Can y'all wait till after the report? You want the question now?
It's actually to Mr., to the interim administrator.
Yes, sir.
How many interviewees are on the short list?
3, sir.
3, okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Director Parson?
I'll make this really brief. I just feel like we owe you an update. As you all know, it was Mother's Day when the fire broke out at the Public Works shop. It's been an interesting few months around here. But it's great to have neighbors such as the fire department. They text me and said, we're en route. And I said, you mean walking across the parking lot? But they were actually at another call. But in the slide, I just kind of show you the upcoming, it's like the last slide in that same presentation. I just want you to get a feel. We've been doing what you all are familiar with it's the one right before the last one. It's just some writing there you go. Projected dates and projects. We've been working with the insurance company as well as contractors. ServPro has done a great job getting out there and getting everything going. Big hat off to Mark Gand, our Public Works Operations Manager. He's been basically managing this from the get-go. He was on scene with me that day when the fire broke out. Just so you all know, I think the final determination was a bathroom fan actually shorted out and caused that fire. We were able to salvage most of the bays, but the bay furthest to the west actually sustained the most damage. That's kind of our office area. But as you can see, we've got things in line. When you're working with ServPro and an insurance company, there's a lot of negotiating back and forth about what is and what isn't damaged and what we can and cannot save. But we're working through it, thanks to Chandra, too. I don't know how she does all these insurance claims, but God bless you, because anyways. The long and short of it is, thank you to everybody that's been involved. We wanted to give you an update. And we are working on getting our crew back in there because the shop's getting warmer by the day, if you know what I mean. So
now where are you meeting right now?
we're meeting in one of the open bays out there. We just have the door open and brought a table out there and keep the fans going on days like today. So any questions about the facility? We're doing our best to salvage what we can. So if you see the guys, tell them thank you. They're putting up with me and the heat. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vital, I saw a crew Father's Day working on Robertson. Had a water leak they was working on. Okay, yes, Park and Recreations.
Good evening again. Before you can see the written report for our Parks and Recreation Department. I really just want to, before I dive in, I want to give a quick shout out to our Planning and Development Director and our Public Works Director. Tonight, they brought several items before you that are directly benefiting the recreation of our city. If you look at our trail system, that would not be possible without Director Parsons. To think about the future of Riverside Park, and frankly, a lot of the work at Garrison Springs, Director Smith has done a lot. I get to get up here and talk about Garrison Springs, and then we get to maintain those trails. But ultimately, without those two gentlemen and the help of a lot of city staff, including Mrs. Calloway, we are getting some great stuff done. On our report, you can see that our membership is healthy. A lot of our numbers are healthy. If we scroll down just a little bit, I think one of the things that excites me is we've been able to bring all of our departments to this report. So the information is growing. I'm not going to dive into all of it, but you're going to now see an update from our fitness coordinator, Carrie Rogers. She is doing some great stuff. You don't know the amount of dirt a fitness center can hold, but we know now because Carrie did a deep clean. And so hopefully for those who utilize the OC's Fitness Center, you see that it is looking much cleaner. You can see that our swim lessons are dipping, but that's because kids are getting out into bodies of water now, and they're not necessarily swimming at the indoor pool. What I also like to point out is our maintenance team is really just going above and beyond. You'll see that the pavilion project in Finley River Park is wrapped up. Of course, they have the joy of evacuating their workspace every time that Finley River comes up because it does flood. But they did that all the while getting things ready for events such as the duck race, working on trails to make sure that they were ready for the event that happened on our trails with the help of the Finley Farms. And then, of course, all the things that are happening at the indoor OC. We had a backflow preventer that we replaced last week successfully. You're going to see a lot more different projects, and it feels like there's a contractor out there every single day giving us a quote or talking about one of those first priority items from our facility assessment. But with that, I'm open to any questions.
Not seeing any. Thank you, sir. Okay. Next, Director Cameron Smith.
Yes, a few highlights. We did get word late last week that Burger King does plan to start July 15th. So that's exciting news.
Oh, thank
Hopefully
you.
they'll stick with that.
People ask me all the time, what's going on with Burger King? Good. I can tell them that.
Yeah. If you notice the new building being constructed up on the hill on 3rd Street, that's the Gerald Perry Tennis Company, a well-known contractor company that specializes in tennis courts. Glad to see they're coming to the area, but they're I would almost call them a nationally known company that does a lot of tennis court work. So they're moving and building a facility here. The U-Haul buildings, both those buildings are now completed. They have occupancy permits on those. If you've seen the entrance to City Hall, that remodel is underway. The desk is now completed. I think Janelle's happy with her new desk. We are waiting on some glass and a door that go in those two openings. The furniture for inside council chambers, the new seats, a couple desks that we purchased, they should be arriving next Monday for install, and they should be in and out in a day's time. So the next meeting, hopefully, you have some new comfy chairs. Also, the remodel for the police department, I'm glad you approved that contract because the plumbing contractor was actually here today doing due diligence and tracing down a pipe so he knows what to expect to get started. Lastly, planning and zoning, we are planning to have a training for them next Monday evening at the regular meeting. Actually, it'll be at 5:30 before the regular meeting. You're welcome to come and sit and listen to that training. Ms. Callaway will be putting that on for us. So on that, be happy to answer any questions.
Alderman Campbell.
I may have overlooked it on here, but up on NN east of Dollar General, the 4 or 5 lots there, what's going on with the containers and dumpsters? Is that are they still?
So yes, it's not on here. Actually, we saw those being placed there, and our building inspector, code compliance officer, both got in touch with them. They are moving a facility and had that property and temporarily placed those, and so we are working with them to just let them sit there for a few weeks until they get them off. The red coat, yep.
Yeah.
But there's, as far as we know, they don't plan to leave those there or have a business.
Snyder.
3rd and South at the top of the hill, southwest corner, or excuse me, northeast corner.
Northeast.
I apologize. That building was sold at one time. It's now sold again. Is there any interest in it, or what's going on with that?
My understanding, the gentleman that purchased that from the Jennings brothers, they bought it for investment. They cleaned it up, painted, and it's for sale again. I hadn't heard it sold again, but that happened the past few days. I don't know, but yes, there's a sign on there. They're just investment property. Okay. So I'm not quite sure what they plan to put in that facility.
Gotcha. Thank you. And then directly north of the little Sky Bar right there, is that a new lot? Is that a new building?
Back Home Brewery, north.
Yeah,
of there.
the brewery. Yeah.
Where you've seen that material placed out there.
Yes.
I think that was some surplus from Public Works project north of Back Home. Did we move some from a road project or?
Because it looks like it's backfill, maybe for a retainer wall on the
It was
backside.
just some excess soil that was placed there through like a land disturbance permit, but as far as we know, nothing's been submitted for, or we haven't heard of anything going on in there.
Okay.
They just use it for overflow parking.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Director Smith? Okay, thank you. As we go to, well, final comments and all, I want you to be aware of that that Alderman Galloway and I are meeting this week with the 4 candidates who applied for the Ward 1 position. And hopefully by next Monday at the latest, we'll have an announcement for you for your consideration to consider to give you a week if you wish to interview them. So we had 5, but for some reason, she put Springfield as her address. And so Chandra first reached out to her and didn't respond. I called her, I texted her, hey, I'd like to talk to you about your application. And she has never responded to either one of us. So to me, I'm not considering it because she won't respond to us. But we do have 4 other candidates that we are interviewing this week. Because to me, if they fill out an application, they're going to be interviewed. So then we'll go from there then. Any comments from the board? Closing comments? Yes, sir.
I do. This one is specifically for Captain Hill in the back. There was a pedestrian crash Saturday morning on Highway 14, literally behind my house. Can you tell me what the circumstances were with that? If the guy fell out of a truck or if he was, because I heard the smack. I want to know what was going on with him. And first of all, is he okay?
Hey, Captain, can you come to the mic, please? Otherwise, we're not gonna be able to hear. I'm sorry, sir.
It was a family situation involving a mentally disabled female, and she fell out of a vehicle that was moving. That's really the extent of it. It was it's an unusual situation. I don't know much more other than that. But
Was he hit by a car?
no,
Okay, he just rolled out.
yeah, she did. She went to the hospital, but yeah,
It was a she?
yes, sir.
All right. Sure looked like a he laying in the ditch.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't hit by a car. That's my big thing.
Yep, I understand.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
I think we're good. If not, is there a motion that we adjourn? Okay, and seconded by,
I second it.
okay, the motion is,
He's got a question.
oh, yes, Alderman Galloway. You have a question?
I really just have a brief comment.
Yes, sir?
I want to thank the staff, in particular, the department heads, all staff members, the interim city administrator, the interim parks director. We've hit a milestone today, or not just extending the contract, but completing our acceptance of Mr. Johnson to be part of this organization. There are so many projects we voted on today that are legacy projects from the prior administration, the projects that I know that the city directors and staff that exist here today in this organization are responsible for bringing to fruition. And I'm thinking of parks, but public works, planning directors, police department, all of these different ordinances that we voted on are the result of hard work through the years. I really appreciate everybody's work here, the city of Ozark. And I too am looking forward to a new chapter, a new city administrator. But I'm grateful for everybody that's here, and that includes again the interim city administrator, who's been so critical as a bridge, and it's allowed our existing staff, our present department heads move forward with projects with enthusiasm. So I also extend my sincere thanks to you. I know that this is the last meeting, but I really thought that people ought to hear that today.
Thank you, sir. Okay. If not, is there as for adjournment, is there a motion to adjourn?
I second it.
Okay, the motion was made by Alderman Snyder, second by Alderman Metcalf. All in favor of to adjourn, do so by show of hands. And it does carry. Thank you all very much.
Jim Metcalf showed tonight.
Yeah.